Hey guys, so today I'm here with a video, a little something different. I'm going to be talking about an idea I had that I figured I would share with you guys, see what you all thought. Now of course, as you all probably know, the iPhone and the iPod Touch are really just tremendous. I mean, they're just taking off. Apple's just raking in the cash. I mean, they just sell so many of them, it's not even funny. However, one thing that I really see there's an opportunity with is the iPod Touch in gaming. Now, if you take a look at perhaps, like a DS or a PSP, and indeed, the 3DS and the PSP2, which will be coming soon, you'll see that, the iPod Touch is actually getting fairly close to actually being able to match them. Especially when you consider the App Store, which has, very, very, very cheap games as compared to, like take, for example, recently the EA put a lot of their games on sale. I picked up Need for Speed for $1, whereas that same title will probably be $30, $35, even $40 on some of the other handhelds. So you see here the value is there, and the idea of just downloading it, everything really is going for the iPod Touch. However, in my opinion, there is one major downside, which is the fact that there are no physical buttons. Now, first of all, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of the touchscreen. A lot of games such as, Angry Birds and many, many others that use the touchscreen controls are really, really fun. There's a lot of really innovative stuff. However, a lot of other apps, I would say probably the majority, would be much better served if they actually had physical buttons. So I'm looking at racing games, first-person shooters, sports games. The list goes on and on. But if you actually had, a D-pad, a couple of, side buttons, maybe, some joysticks, whatever, shoulder buttons. I don't know how they would set it up. But if they could get that on the iPod Touch, I think that would be really, really cool. So in my kind of theory, and of course, do keep in mind this is not, based on rumors or anything like that. This is just kind of my idea. I just wanted to bounce off you guys. And this idea, what would you guys think if there was an iPod Touch, maybe called the iPod Play or something like that, that was separate from the iPod Touch? So, you could go ahead and buy yourself a standard iPod Touch, or you could get an iPod Play. And the way this one would work was it has somewhat similar to the PSP Go. You could go ahead and slide it down. You have more buttons, maybe a couple of joysticks or something. Of course, keeping all the standard features such as the touchscreen and everything, just in addition. As well as better battery life. So maybe perhaps they could use some of that extra space for more battery, larger battery, however they wanted to do it. That's one thing I've noticed with the iPod Touch. Like recently I was doing some gaming. Now do keep in mind this is with, the brightness up, the Bluetooth on, playing a very intense game. But I was almost able to drain the entire battery down to about 25% from fully charged in about an hour. So, the battery life is pretty good normally, but when you really get into intense games, especially over Wi-Fi and all this kind of stuff, it can drain the battery fairly quickly. So if they were able to go ahead and, just do the same iPod, the same specs, same touchscreen, everything, with some slide-out controls and a bigger battery for probably a little bit more, would you guys be interested? Now, personally, I think that would be great. I think that if it had physical controls and better battery life, it could absolutely compete against, the PSP2 and the 3DS. But would you guys be really interested in that? If you had to pay a little bit more to go ahead and get that, would you be interested? Would that be a good idea? Bad idea? Definitely let me know in the comments. Personally, I think it would be pretty cool, but of course that's why I'm making this video, to kind of discuss it with you guys. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching.